I've always hated this phrase, but hear me out. Every agent has the same 24 hours. But the reality is, not every agent has the same bank account. And the big difference, the key difference is knowing whether or not to spend your sweat or your checkbook. And today we are stripping away the hustle fluff to give you some clear strategic frameworks. Is your path to seven figures paved with outbound prospecting or high scale marketing? Because most agents end up getting stuck in this messy middle here where they spend a little bit and they spend a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and they get mediocre results from both, and they wonder why their business isn't scaling and why it's going down, right? In this episode of the Uncommon Real Estate Podcast, Chris Craddock sits down with one of the top team leaders in the industry, Kyle Whistle, and they break down together the non-negotiable daily schedules for the time-rich agent and the ironclad conversion systems that are required for that money-rich marketer. You're not going to want to miss it.
Welcome to Uncommon Real Estate, where it's all about finding creative solutions for real estate agents and investors. In exclusive mastermind conversations with some of the brightest minds in real estate, you'll learn how to earn an extra 6 figures a year. Don't follow the herd. Be uncommon. Here are your hosts, multi-millionaire real estate agent and investor, Chris Craddock and Jeff Safright.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Craddock, and I am super pumped to talk about how to build wealth. Remember, we've got two machines in our life. We've got our cash machine, which is where we trade time for dollars to make money. And then we got your wealth machine. And wealth is when your money works harder than you work. Wealth is when you go on vacation, your income doesn't go on vacation. When you get sick, your income doesn't get sick. That is what wealth is. And so it's hard to build the wealth machine if you can't build the cash machine, right? And so today we're going to be talking about buddy Tommy Harper about how to build the cash machine, how he finds motivated sellers, massive amounts of motivated sellers, and how if you are an agent, you can turn these into listings. But again, if you are an agent, you should be with everything inside of you, you should be always asking the question, should I buy it? Should I flip it? Should I find some creative way to do it before you think about listing it first? Every great deal in the MLS has slipped through the fingers of an agent at some point in time, and don't be that person that looks back with massive regret. Boom. With that said, Tommy, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we will dive into it.
Chris, man, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much in advance. Very excited to share and give some value on your podcast as well. My name's Tommy Harper, 30 years old, born and raised and operate out of Columbus, Ohio. By trade, after I graduated college, I became a home inspector with my dad. So I learned the ropes that way and then started to see all these flippers and wholesalers in the market for the houses that I was inspecting, making way more money than me. And learned very quickly that hard work's not going to make you as much money. There's different avenues that are going to make you more money. So I took that home inspection knowledge, the house knowledge, started then wholesaling, started flipping, and completely changed my life that way. So 30 years old now, we have about 10 employees on staff and run a full real estate investing business. We flip, we wholesale, and we have a decent rental portfolio here in Columbus, Ohio.
Boom. So how many deals a year will you either flip or wholesale or do novation, some sort of stuff? How many of those deals a year will you end up doing?
We'll probably do about 175 deals this year.
175 deals. Get that. So with that said, what are the main source? How do you find these deals? How are you sourcing these deals? How are you getting hand raisers?
Yeah, good question. So we split it into two avenues. So most everything we do is off market. So just to preface the things I'm going to be talking about here, I'm not skimming the MLS. I'm not doing, this is stuff that people, when you're watching this, I know it's a lot of agents. This is stuff that you can implement today to find great listings, great things to buy yourself. And to me, it's all about having options. But in order to have the options, I need to be the person that is talking directly to the seller. I'm talking off market, direct to seller marketing. So we have two ways we do it. The number one way that we do it, which we started this last year, we actually have a team member that does business to business acquisitions. And this, I'm not going to touch on this super deep, but He basically goes through all wholesalers' deals. He's making relationships. He's building those relationships with realtors, wholesalers, anybody that may be talking to those sellers. So just like anything else, following up with those people, taking them out to lunch, having those relationships. But the meat and potatoes of our business is off-market, outbound marketing. So what we do is we pull lists online. So I'm going to give you guys some tangible things right now. $99 a month PropStream account, PROP stream. That gives you 10,000 records a month. You can pull that. So pull a high equity list, pull a free and clear list, pull a bankruptcy list, pull some kind of list that has motivation on paper, skip trace it. So we have a skip tracing, which is 3 cents a record. What that's going to do is get you all of their phone numbers. It's going to give you 3 phone numbers for each person. And then we have cold callers overseas that are basically plowing through those lists, calling people at mass, getting those hand raises. Hey, my name is Tom. I work for a local real estate investing company. Would you ever be interested in selling your property? And they just plow through those lists and drop them in our CRM.
So back up real quick. So skip tracing, just so everybody knows, it's appending a cell phone number to the seller. But
yep.
I seen like cell phones and emails for like 15 cents, for 10 cents, even for 8 cents, 3 cents a record. That's a crazy number. Where are you getting 3 cents a record from?
Yeah, we've got a deal with the company's called KindSkip. And I'll give you this link too. You can give it to all the people listening. 3 cents a record. Because if you do it on PropStream, or if you don't want to batch is a big one, you're going to be 8 to 10 to 15 cents a record. And one little insider trick, people don't like sharing this, but all this data comes from the same places. So these companies, they get the data from the same places. It's just how well are they marketing, and they're building their business arbitraging that number anyway. So it's just marketing.
Bro, that's incredible. KindSkip, man. I'm not like, I get a really good deal on our data just because we buy so much, or skip tracing just because we buy so much. But 3 cents, ours, I think we get like to 6 cents. That's awesome, man.
Now, the caveat with that is you have to do at least 10,000 records at a time. So you're at least paying $300 per search. But once again, like going back to the beginning, $99 a month, I got 10,000 records, $100. Skip tracing that entire list, $300. Now for $400, you have 10,000 potential people to talk to sell their house. That's amazing. Very low cost.
That's incredible. And I know that I know I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, that you have a coaching business on this. What do you teach people? Like, what does your team do? And what do you teach people to do to open that conversation? Because obviously nobody wants, like I know that a lot of people, and I have this conversation with my team, with people that I work with all the time, that are nervous to make calls because they don't want to be cussed out. They don't want to, whatever. And the reality is you probably will at times. Yeah. But with that said, what do you suggest as the opening of the conversation?
With the sellers?
Yeah. Like when you're just, the cold calling, and whether you're hiring a VA to do it, whether you're hiring somebody in the state in-house to do it, or if you're making the calls yourself, what is that first, conversation? Hello, how does that conversation look?
Yeah, I'll run you through the 5 pillars that we kind of run through, but we split it out into 2. So number 1, these cold callers that we're hiring overseas, they're not employees for me. We don't teach them anything. They have a boss that teaches them the script. They have the quality control aspect. So if you're somebody listening to this, you're like, man, I don't want a cold call. That is something I don't want to do, but I want lead generation. Pay the money. I think it's like $1,400 a month to get one cold caller, and they guarantee you 1 to 2 leads a day into your CRM. And right now we're 40 leads to contract closed. So for us, that's our business. That's our KPIs. So you can close probably a deal a month or 2 deals a month once you start to build that funnel with 1 cold caller. And those leads just drop into your CRM, and we're basically picking it up, and it's warm. They know you're going to call. They're not like crazy excited to talk to you because it's still a cold call lead. But on the other side, if I'm doing the cold calling, number 1 is get your elevator pitch down pat. Who are you? Why are you calling? And what are you looking to get out of this? So when I pick up the phone and they answer, they're going to say, who is this? And you say, my name is Tom. I'm a local real estate investor here in Columbus, Ohio. I actually grew up around this area. I'm now investing in this area. I came across your property at 123 Main Street. Would you ever be interested in a cash offer on that house? And the one thing you got to learn about cold calling is most people don't differentiate themselves. One, you differentiate yourself right away, but this is not an acquisitions call. So you're not really talking about the meat and potatoes of the house. You're just getting a hand raise. So the only goal of that cold call is, do you have the right number? Is it the right person? Do they own the house? And do they want to sell at some point? That's the only thing you're looking to get out. If you can get that, that is a win. Then we talk about it with people in our business. You're taking off that hat once the lead is done, and then you're putting on your acquisitions hat when you call them again. Hey, my name is Tom. I'm the local acquisitions rep for Legacy Homes. I know you talked to my team member. Do you have a minute to talk about this house and some of the goals you want with selling this? So you're completely transitioning and moving those two conversations away from one another. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, it's awesome. And what I love about what you're sharing here is just that you've just outlined how to build a business. So like the big thing we talked about with wealth is you're still trading time for dollars when you're doing this. This is the key. Now, obviously, you've got to have a little bit of cash to be able, buy the data, skip trace everything, hire the cold callers, because it's very rare that you're going to see a one shot, one kill. You're making you're planting the seeds that grow up in, just like a tomato seed. You don't plant the seed and then expect to be eating that tomato and then from your garden tomorrow, right? So you have to nurture it and grow it up. So what do you see as the cycle here? Like I say, in the residential cycle, usually you're in a 90-day cycle. Like whatever you do today, you don't actually reap the benefits for 90. And that's why most people fall out, because they don't have the staying power to do the same thing for 90 days. That's why diets don't work. That's why other things don't work in America, because people can't be consistent. But what do you see in your model as the cycle from I start today, I usually get my first check when?
90 days. You hit it right on the head. I mean, that's exactly what we tell people. I think everybody, when they get into something new, they just don't have the right expectations. I know I didn't. So I thought, I started making calls and deals are just going to start falling in my lap. It takes a while to start stuffing that funnel. We look at everything as a funnel. So up here, I talked about every house in America as a data point. So I'm trying to strategically, with a little bit of money, fill this top with as many motivated sellers as I can. And I'm shoveling them down into conversations, into hand raises, and then I'm doing an acquisitions call. And then finally, of those 10,000 records you have, maybe 1% answer. So now you got 100, and then another few are like, you know what, let's have a conversation. I want to sell soon. Some people will be 6 months to a year out. But if you do this day after day, month after month, out of nowhere, you're going to start having deals pop out of the air. You're like, oh, wow, I talked to that person 4 months ago and they're ready again. So it's really important to have a good CRM. Haven't mentioned that yet, but having a system that can, like, basically your little yellow notes that you're writing all over your desk, it's just shoveled into a system to tell you when to follow up with somebody. And there's some automations you can use on that too.
Bro, it's so powerful. And I love just how clear and concise and simple it is. One of the things I say, I heard somebody say this a long time ago, but originality is forgetting who you stole it from. So I'm just going to pretend like I made it up. The best in the world make the complex simple. And that's just what is so powerful. And so you're saying you get the data, you skip trace the data, you hire somebody to make the calls, they're just making the dials, you're getting the hand raisers. The hand raisers are coming over, but because they're cold calls, right? They're not inbound traffic, it's outbound traffic, because of the fact, and obviously you're making sure that you're TCPA compliant and you're not calling, do not call list, all the other stuff, but you're getting the hand raisers. And then from the time you get the hand raisers, how many contacts are you usually seeing contact before contract?
I think we're at like 15 touches at least. So 15 phone calls, texts, some sort of nurture. Yeah, I had a webinar last night where I talked about the biggest flip we did, which was an inbound lead that we had, or an outbound lead that we had through our cold calling. We had 56 phone calls and 46 text messages back and forth, and it took 8 months. But we made 165 grand on that deal. So some take a lot longer than others. Now you will get lucky every now and again. I was trying to talk to my team over the 5 years that we've been doing this consistently every day of marketing. We've maybe had 2 or 3 first call closes from a cold call. So it's all money is made in the follow-up.
How many deals do you think? So we looked at it. I think we're close to like 4,000 deals for our company. How many deals like would you say you guys have done total?
Close to 500.
All right. So 500. And you said, was it, how many first call closes?
3, maybe 3. I know 1 for sure, maybe 2, 3 max.
Okay. So 3 first call closes out of 500 deals. You guys, like that's less than 1% of a one shot, one kill. Now, the biggest problem that I've seen with people being like falling out, especially when people get into the more investment game, everybody like in real estate, they think that they're going to be, fabulously wealthy. But when you look at the people that are looking to invest, it's like, man, I'm going to start and by next month, I've got my Lamborghini. I'm going to be like on my private jet, and you realize that, that doesn't work. And that's why most people wash out. And I think the washout rate is even bigger in the investment side than it is in the agent side. The washout rate on the agent side is massive.
Absolutely.
Because of these expectations that are just not real. So with that said, like jump into your genius zone here. Like start like coach, like you're coaching me. I'm one of your students. I want to move into, let's say that I do a handful of real estate deals as an agent. So I get the business. I understand comping. I understand all of that other stuff. Like, what would you tell me as your student to move from 0 to, 30 motivated leads a month that I can actually start closing on?
Yeah, I would start by saying, and you just told me, I would say, hey, what is your goal? Let's say 6 months from now, how many deals do you want to be closing a month? And usually the answer is about 1 to 2 or 3 to 5. And that right there, we're just gonna be like, okay, if you want to do 1 to 2 deals a month and within 90 days, you're going to have enough leads in your system that you can start getting these houses in contract, closable leads that are coming into your system. But we're going to backtrack and we're going to say, okay, we're going to go through all the stuff we just talked about. Here's the list you need to pull. Here's the systems you need to get. So get PropStream. You're going to get a CRM called REI Sift as well, which is going to be your data management software. Tyler, he's in the mastermind that we're in together. Amazing software that's going to manage your data well. And then we're going to hire you a cold caller or help you hire. They're not my team, but hey, talk to these 3 companies. Whatever one you want to go with, we vet them, we use them, and those leads are going to start coming in. And then during that time when you're figuring it out, we're going to set up we're going to help you set up your CRM. So we're going to make sure you're not fumbling these leads. We're going to set up your automations. And then beyond that, we're going to help you with sales training. So after that, not a lot of people talk. You can't just get on the phone with these people and have no idea what you're talking about. But as an agent, you guys and girls have done this before. You talk to people, you understand houses, you understand mechanical systems, maybe lifespans, and it's just learning how to kind of tweak your conversation a little bit different. Like really, instead of like with an agent, I'm assuming that most of the conversation is, hey, you don't really dig into the motivation of why they're selling. You're just like, okay, you want to sell, let's figure out what you can get. You're digging more into, okay, what's your problem and how can I solve it? Are you going bankrupt? Is it a hoarder house that they're embarrassed to walking through? Is it a probate situation? Did somebody pass away? What is the real motivation? And then having the solution for that. And then you have multiple hats. You can list it if they want market value. You can buy it if they want cheaper. You can even wholesale it if it's something that comes across and your agency will allow it.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk numbers here for a second. So outside of your staff, you said, did you say 150 deals last year? Is that what you said? Yeah,
we closed close to that. We'll probably do 175 this year.
175. And do you mind giving me a breakdown? How many did you flip? How many did you do wholesales? Did you do any innovation? Did you do how many, what was the breakdown of those deals?
We were about 75, 25 wholesale to flip. So whatever that number comes out to, let's call it 100 to 50 last year, wholesales to flip. And this year we bought a lot more. So it's probably closer to 50-50 on the wholesales versus the flip. And we did a little over a million net in each of those businesses. So I think we grossed or netted right around 2 million. I have to look at my numbers, but I think it was right around there.
That's awesome. All right. So how much do you spend right now on data? How much how many cold callers do you have? And how much are you spending on that? Break it down so people can see, this is what built out to look like your business looks like?
Yep. So we spend about $10,000 a month right now, and that's going to give us 13 to 15 contracts a month on the off-market lead generation business. So we've got 6 cold callers. We have the PropStream, and also like our way that we look at the business is we're not doing the shotgun approach, which most people will teach. Hey, if you need more data, just go buy it. Once you market and you're in an area long enough, like I'm in Columbus, Ohio, I'm born and raised here. I've been doing this business here for 7 years. So we pretty much have every data point that we need. And that's why you need a CRM like REI Sift. That's going to tag all of your data points. So if you pull a list today that's free and clear, so the data online tells you that they don't have a mortgage. And they also pull up on one of my eviction lists that I pull free from the county. That's telling me that they don't owe on the house and they just evicted somebody. You tell me, is that person motivated on paper? Probably. Is that person may want to sell at a discount right now. So that's the time to hit them. So we're trying to look at our data and be like, okay, in the top of that pyramid, how can I get as much stacked niche data as I can? Is it vacant, eviction? So we're pulling these PropStream lists every month, no matter what, even if we don't use them, we're housing them in our database. And then we're pulling free lists from our county. So we got tax delinquents, water shutoffs, eviction lists, code violation lists, fire damage lists. Those are all free, literally free lists of data that you can go get from your county today.
That's incredible. That's incredible. All right. So we got less than 10 minutes left on this. So 6 cold callers.
Yep.
And then how many people do you have, help us understand like what this built out, the way that you teach it looks like.
Yep.
How many people do you have in-house following up on the hand raisers that the cold callers find?
So we had 2 acquisitions team members. When I say acquisitions, these are seller-facing people that are on the phones talking to sellers, building relationships all day. We just let go of 1. So we have 1. We're going to hire another one. So 2 acquisitions on the phones talking to people every day. 1 dispositions manager. So when we get the deals in contract, he's the one selling those deals to other investors. Then we have an office manager / transaction coordinator. And these are all in-house in my office that I'm sitting in right now. So she handles all the transactions. She makes sure that the title company's involved. She makes sure that the documents are getting in and tying in the knots. I've got a business partner that does a lot of the sales management and team management on the wholesaling side. And we've got 4 virtual assistants in that business from the Philippines that actually work in our business every week. We've got a data management team member. We've got a lead manager. And then we've got 2 marketing team members that are basically scrubbing lists. And another thing that you can do for free, this has been a gold piece of information that I can give you guys here. We're probate lists you can't go buy. People don't have those. Probate meaning somebody passes away and the house is inherited. Those are typically very motivated. But they're public record. So when those court cases hit the docket at your county, that's public record immediately. We've got a virtual assistant that goes there, scrubs those lists, one-off skip traces them, and shovels that into an in-house cold caller that we have. So we have usually 1, we call it a junior acquisition, usually an intern that's here learning the ropes, and they're plowing through a dialer, calling those niche lists to get another set of eyes on things.
Bro, here, out of all the things you just said, here's what I want. I want you guys to listen. I want you to hear this. One of the things that he mentioned is kind of skipped over, but is super important is he just said they had to let go of one of their acquisitions people, right? So just understand that nobody has a business that doesn't have hiccups or issues, right? I still remember the first time I was asked to speak at this big conference, and we were having dinner with the other speakers, and these were all people that I listened to as I first got into it. And we were talking, and as we were just talking as peers, all of a sudden, all these businesses that I heard about that I thought were like complete Ferraris, and we're talking like at dinner, like you open up the hood and you still have pistons that are rusted out, right? Like it's not a perfect business.
Always. Yep.
And so that's what I love to hear. Even though Tommy's got it dialed in, it's still not perfect and it's still a work in progress. So I hope that gives you hope, because that was one of the most life-giving things to me when I had that dinner and like I heard the stuff that people don't talk about on stage, like the stuff that's actually going on and painful at the time, that there is always a growing pain, no matter where you go, new levels, new devils, right? So Anyway, we've got 4 minutes left. Tommy, what should I be asking you that I haven't asked you yet?
I don't know, man. I think that lead generation is the most important part of the business. So if you guys can dial this in, and you talked in the beginning or in the middle here about you need some money, but even if you don't have much money at all, you can, for $400, let's say you spend another $150 on a CRM/dialer, write this down, smartphone, SMRT phone. You can get a 4-line dialer. So you can pull these lists for $100, skip trace them for $300, get a dialer system for $150. So $550 a month. You can get on you can call 4 people at a time, and you yourself can plow through these phone calls if that's what you want to do. So, and I'm kind of talking to myself for 6-7 years ago, because I didn't have any money. I didn't have this extra income that I could just spare on this business. So if you're in that scenario, if you're listening to this, you don't have to spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. You can spend $500 and make this side hustle extremely profitable. But there's 2 levers that you have in this business. It's time and it's money. Which lever are you going to pull? If you have no time, but you have money, pull the money lever to get you the leads. If you got time, but no money, it's your time. Your time is not as valuable. You got to start doing those calls. So it's just the brutal, honest fact that that's just how the world works. And that's the only way that you're going to make this business work.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I was growing and scaling, one of the big things that I remember hearing was, your business earns the right to build out the org chart. As you spend your time, and I know it's brutal that what Tommy just said, your time's not as valuable. And what you get paid is what your time is worth. That's the whole thing. So Tommy said he netted about $2 million last year, which means his time is worth about $1,000 an hour. If you make $100,000, net, your time's worth $50 an hour. Like that is the value of your time. And so you've got to earn more with the time you have in order to hire people that, can do those things for you. So I think that's super powerful. Tommy, this has been friggin' awesome. I love how clear and concise you've been. I know you have a coaching business, and I don't normally like to do much in the way of pitching because they're not an infomercial. But I'll tell you, I know the stuff that you've just shared has been incredible. And I'm sure there's some folks that want to understand how they could scale their business. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about what you do?
Yeah. In no way, shape, or form am I on this to pitch at all. Just holler at me on Instagram, TommyHar05. I respond to all my DMs. I like to communicate with everybody. Let's just connect. And if you want to learn how to do some stuff, let's just have a conversation. We're not salesy by any means. If I can't sit down, hang out with you and feel like I can help you, I'm not going to take your money either. So I just want to thank you for your time and also your audience. I think what you got going on here is amazing. And I'm excited to hang out with the family and chop it up a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. This has been incredible. I know you've got to jump to something. I've got to jump to something. It's a full day today, but man, keep killing it. Please, guys, reach out to Tommy. Like, this has been the simplicity of how he broke down something that is super complex is really special here. And if you really want to scale a business, understanding like each move and in a very complex machine is pretty much the best way to grow and scale a business. So Tommy, great job, man. Thanks so much for sharing. Go kill it, guys. Till next time.
Thanks, Chris.
Boom.
Appreciate you guys.
Kyle and Chris together have laid out the perfect blueprint. You either hunt with your time or you're fishing with your money. And we explored why a disciplined schedule is the greatest asset if you are prospecting, and why buying leads is an absolute waste of cash if you don't have these systems over here to catch it, right? So stop trying to do both poorly. Indecision is the most expensive mistake that you can make in this industry. And there are tens of thousands of agents that can prove that for you. So look at your P&L and look at your calendar. If you don't keep a P&L, then we know which way you're going to go. But if you have less than 3 months of runway, your path is time. And if you have a surplus and you have no bandwidth, your path is going to be systems. So pick one of those today. And I'd like you to commit to it for at least 90 days. But if you're not going to do that, at least until the end of the quarter. And don't forget, we want those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, and share this with an agent that you know that's been thinking about at least buying leads, because we all know one or two. And we will see you right back here on KGCI Real Estate On Air.